embarrassment of not knowing endgame theory, so you know, immediately. I mean, I was actually aware of that, but it didn't click during the actual game. I think I need like reminder of. Anyway, so let's see, Alka again. Didn't I just play him earlier? So, what's going on here? Trying to break up his pawns, maybe get some light squares. Knight can come over here, maybe, knight e2. Or just allow bishop f3. Does he want to give up the light square bishop? Could be a bit controversial. Right, let's go on for it. So at the moment the knight's actually useful for knight takes d4, is it? e5, knight c6. Rook c1, if queen c7 or, sorry, queen c8. Yeah, so I think I've got knight c6 here. So e5, knight c6, and I've at least got knight e7, haven't I? Or queen c8, there's rook c1. If queen b6, well, the knight's getting stranded maybe. After e takes, knight e7. Maybe e5 does work. It's interesting, isn't it? Knight e5 does actually win a piece. Or knight takes e5. No, it doesn't. Knight e5. So here, what's going on? Have I got knight c6? No. Oh, it's bishop e2. So if castle's knight c6, maybe queen e8, because otherwise queen e1, knight e7, check. That's king h1. Let's play rook g1. Bishop h2 here. Tricky. Is rook g1 any good? Trying to get some compensation for the shattered pawns. Do I want to play f4 and bishop f3 as well? Trying to get this bishop useful in the diagonal. Maybe there'll be knight c6s. On the other hand, I'm blocking in this bishop once I play f4. So, no. I'll play rook g1 anyway. So this knight looks misplaced. And bishop d4 looks as though that really does wreck my structure with isolated pawns, isolated pawn, isolated pawn. But if the knight moves, I don't know, maybe I've got like things like bishop d6 of knight e7, so it's not so clear cut to play bishop d4. If he doesn't, if he castles, then okay, stopped f4. What about rook g4? I think rook g4. How am I following this up? Maybe rook c1. Rook c1. Try and play bishop c4. No, rook c1. Why not just queen g1? Maybe Queen G1. Get a bit of pressure over here. In fact, treble. What about just trebling Queen G2 and the other rook? Rather crudely, it's G1. But then I'm justifying this knight protecting. Well, white's very solid over there. I'll just drop this pawn, but then bishop A6. Maybe B3. The knight takes B3 though. So rook G5 though. Aren't I threatening rook takes H5 if the queen moves? Now, because rook takes H5. That might have been a blunder by the opponent. Rook takes H5 here. So I'm pinning that pawn at the moment. Maybe there's knight F5 coming up as well. Bishop A6 here. Is it worth playing that? Or knight F5? Knight F5 actually threatens knight E7. So I think I might try that. Bishop F8, maybe there's knight H6. Right, knight takes G7, and then there's bishop E5, so I'm attacking the queen. Bishop E5 or rook E5. Maybe rook E5 is best, just to avoid all these like hanging pieces. Rook E7 threatens bishop E5 now. Should I slip in B3? Otherwise, I want him to take on there because bishop E5 will win that knight. Bishop E5 will win the knight. Okay. Rook A7 threatens the A6 pawn. I think it's all over this game. So yeah, dynamic compensation. Queen G5 threatening things like Queen H6 now and Bishop E5. So Queen E7 and Queen F7. So Queen H6, I think it's good, because King G8, there's Bishop E5. There's F6. Bishop E5, F6. Well, there's knight E6, I suppose. But if F6, well, there's Bishop C4 check. I can't see. What's so after King H8 though? Rook takes G6. It's crushing there because then rook takes F6. So yeah, bishop E. Unless F3 is weak. Right. Is there a simple way of playing this? Bishop E5, F6. Couldn't I just take on G6? Takes. If a King H8, Bishop F6. If King F8, I don't know. It looks too tempting. I'm going to play it. So Rook G6 here. Because I've also got Bishop C4s. Although Bishop C4 weakens. What about Bishop F6? What about just taking this first? Bishop D4. I'll cock this up. Mess this up. Yeah. Anyway, he's just far too short on time. So he's just lost on time. So that was interesting because of the structural damage. So bishop f3 maybe a little bit controversial. So this trebling on the g file was effective here. So rook g5 is a knockout blow, really, winning that h5 knight because he blundered. So, but I still managed to find a way of I don't know, getting worse position maybe here in the pole position. Anyway, comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks very much.